All right, please turn to your table of contents and you can fill in today's date for pages 14 and 15. If you end up doing this on a different date, just write down the date that it really is. This is what I'm anticipating most people will be doing it. All right, and then you can turn to pages 14 and 15, and we're going to start with the notes on page 15. Now, as we do these on this video, I might go faster than you are going. So if that's the case, just pause it when you need a little more time, and make sure that you have the time to do what you need to do. So take those breaks and pause as needed to make sure that you are keeping up. All right, top of page 15, please. An eclipse occurs when the moon or the sun are blocked, depending which one we're talking about, from the perspective of the Earth. So an eclipse is something we see from the Earth, and they are always named for what is being blocked in regards to our perspective, right? So a lunar eclipse means that the moon is blocked from our perspective, and this happens because the moon crosses into the shadow that is actually caused by the Earth. All right. So the moon is crossing into that shadow caused by the Earth, and here's a little diagram about how things line up. You can see that we've got the sun, and then the Earth, and then the moon. So you got to know the right order first. You can see that, of course, because the Earth is so much bigger than the moon, there's, a comparatively pretty big shadow being cast. So this is something that is going to entirely cover the moon, and it's going to travel through these different parts of the shadow, which is going to give us different kinds of lunar eclipses. More on that later. All right, a solar eclipse occurs when the moon crosses in between the Earth and the sun, and it blocks the sun and casts a shadow on the Earth. All right, and maybe you saw there was that big solar eclipse that actually just was like a year and a half ago. Maybe you're someone that was able to see that. Here, we didn't have a total eclipse here, but a lot of people did a lot of traveling for that. Maybe that was you. With a solar eclipse, you can see kind of when we look at the size of the moon compared to the size of the Earth, you can see that the area where an eclipse is going to occur on Earth is much smaller on a solar eclipse than it will be on a lunar eclipse. And that just simply has to do with the size of the Earth and the moon that's involved. All right, so we've got these different areas of the shadow. The umbra is the name for the darkest part of the shadow, and it's when we have the eclipse happening in the umbra that we have a total eclipse. The penumbra is the lighter part of the shadow, and this is going to cause a partial eclipse. So if you look at this diagram, this is showing the different parts of the shadow, the umbra and the penumbra. And that, again, is going to correlate to a total or partial eclipse. Frequency of eclipses. Eclipses are not super common. They certainly don't happen every time that the moon travels around the Earth. The moon's revolution is actually tilted slightly, and therefore the Earth, moon, and the sun are only going to line up a few times a year. And even then, it may not be visible from everywhere on Earth. All right, now we're going to go over to page 14 next and add some diagrams into our notes. So if you look on page 14, we're going to start with the lunar eclipse up at the top. And go ahead and draw a little sunshine for yourself, or maybe there's even one already printed there. I'm not sure what you've got there, but if you don't already have a sun pre-printed in there, go ahead and add it now. And then what you're going to do is you are going to add the Earth, the moon, and then point out the umbra and the penumbra, okay? So I'm going to put this diagram on here, and you should pause it until you are done drawing the diagram. You're going to want a sun, earth, and moon, an umbra, and a penumbra, okay? Pause it now till you're done. All right, we're going to move on to the solar eclipse, and we're going to do the same thing. So for the solar eclipse spot, You should either already have the sun there or go ahead and draw one if you don't. And for the solar eclipse, please draw a sun, moon, and earth, and then include the umbra and the penumbra.